Did you know that this show is the #1 Big 12 podcast in America, according to J.D. Power? Rankings. This is Locked On Big 12.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome into Locked On Big 12. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast, Locked On Big 12. Thank you for making this show your first listen every single day. Power rankings. Oh, a month and a half ago, these were absolutely blown my mind, and they are as wild as the Big 12 was advertised to be. In the middle segment, the AP poll is just something that we generate for clicks, for money, for people that are quasi-journalists to spew things that aren't very accurate at you, and that makes me sad. And the third segment, Colorado was robbed against Kansas State. Not because of the pass interference, but because of other things, and I want to get into Deion Sanders saying things again, which he does a lot. You hit subscribe, I get to keep my job. Power rankings, let's do it. #1, Iowa State. Why is Iowa State 1 and BYU 2? Iowa State went on the road and beat Iowa, a top 25 team. BYU went on the road and beat SMU, a top 25 team. According to ESPN, I'm going to get into this in the middle segment. Resume-wise, BYU's is better nationally by one spot than Iowa State. The reason that I put Iowa State at 1, BYU at 2, is because I believe the Cyclones are the more balanced team. Very even offensively and defensively. BYU, defense, they lead them, no doubt. I still have a couple of question marks about the offense. I've seen Iowa State go down by multiple possessions and win a football game. Can BYU do that? Maybe they won't be put into a position to do that, but I don't know yet because there's an imbalance between the Jay Hill defense and the A-Rod offense still. The numbers and the analytics back that up. 1 Iowa State, 2 BYU. They're the best two teams in the conference. They are deserving of being top 10 teams in the country. At 3, Kansas State. That's the same Kansas State that got blown out by BYU, but I don't think that gap is massive. If those two teams played tomorrow, I do believe BYU wins 6 out of 10, but it's still a very competitive matchup. I don't think anybody would try to argue that. Chris Kleiman, Kansas State, very good. They beat a solid Colorado team who I thought played well, and that's why Colorado didn't drop too low in my rankings. At 4, Texas Tech. Hello. You're back once again. Forget about Washington State. Forget about Abilene Christian. And remember the Texas Tech Red Raiders that are undefeated in Big 12 play. You're in a good spot at 4. A top 5 team in the conference right now, no doubt, especially with the way that Taj Brooks plays football. At 5, Arizona State. Cam Scatterbo. I am entranced watching him play football. 158 rushing yards this week on 22 carries. And the defense of Arizona State, bottling up Cam Rising, who was supposed to be this outsider candidate for the Heisman. Maybe you could argue Cam Rising was a little banged up, but what's new? He's probably used to playing a little banged up by now, right? 3 interceptions for Rising. 16 for 37 is not good. Arizona State, top 5 team in the Big 12, no doubt. At 6, Cincinnati. Here are 2 teams in Arizona State and Cincinnati that I thought preseason would not sniff the top 10 at any point in the Big 12 power rankings, and they are on the top half of this conference by a long shot. Cincinnati and Brennan Sorsby to Corey Kiner. The offense wasn't electric this week. You can't argue that it was. They didn't put up 20 points against UCF, but the defense, man, the Godfather, they're freaking good. And I'm a pro Cincinnati winning as many games as possible from here on out guy, as long as they keep winning. Again, if you're going to win, keep winning. Don't be 7-5. Don't mess up somebody's really good season and then go 7-5. Let's make sure the top heavy teams in the Big 12 stay where they are. At 7, Colorado. Lost half of their offensive production this week and still almost beat Kansas State because the defense was able to step up. When the ball was in Shedeur Sanders' hand there at the very end to go win it, he couldn't do it. But it's a very salty, good Kansas State defense. I don't blame Shedeur Sanders. Without the weapons he's used to, 3 main wide receivers down, and Colorado still competed, they are a top half team in the Big 12, and that's saying a lot in a conference that goes like 11 teams deep. 8, West Virginia. This is the 8 to 12-ish is going to kind of be your, they could go to a bowl, sans a couple of teams in there. West Virginia, We got away from what we were good at, which was running the ball with Jaheim White and C.J. Donaldson and Garrett Green. We just didn't do that this week, and subsequently you lost. 1 Iowa State, 2 BYU, 3 Kansas State, 4 Texas Tech, 5 Arizona State, 6 Cincinnati, 7 Colorado, 8 West Virginia, 9 Arizona. At 3-3 again, you start to say, okay, is this a bowl team? I believe so. They're a 7-5 caliber team, no doubt. Sitting right behind them, Utah. In what world did we think, is Utah a bowl team? Obviously, the answer should be yes, but the schedule moving forward is not that easy. At 4-2, Utah is likely an 8-4 Big 12 team, and that's you going 4-2 down the stretch, and you're not playing very well right now. I struggle to guarantee that you can win 4 games to get to 8-4. I can't guarantee that. Utah sitting at 10, both of those schools, and West Virginia included. Arizona, Utah, West Virginia should be bowl teams. 11, Houston. Likely not going bowling, but power rankings-wise, momentum-wise, if the cutoff is 10 teams, Houston's right there on the edge of, hey, you're gritty, and I can't fault you for being really gritty. Thanks, guys. Houston at 11. I think Willie Fritz is building something. And with the recruiting base he has in Houston, I had a buddy who doesn't know ball. I'm in Miami this weekend. Also, I'm recording this before the Dallas Cowboys game starts so that I'm not sad when they lose to the Lions. Fingers crossed. And the buddy who doesn't know ball was like, hey, we're in Miami together. I think Houston's going to be really good in a couple of years because they have a great recruiting base. And I thought, that's good. That's a great point. Willie Fritz, I got confidence in you. 12, Oklahoma State. I don't know. Garrett Rangel could be your quarterback, I guess. Whatever happened to that Ollie Gordon guy? Is he still on the team? 13, even when he plays well, they just don't win. 13, UCF. Can we rent a quarterback? What is Gus Malzahn doing? There's no, you're in Orlando, Florida. There's no, and you were good last year. 6-6 was the best of the new teams. There's no reason you should be as really terrible as you are right now. But you're really terrible. TCU at 14. You lost to Houston. We were all being really nice and kind to Houston because they were Houston, and you lost to them. Fire Kendall Briles 2 years ago, and maybe you're in a better spot. 15, the Baylor Bears. The Baylor Bears. Fire Dave Aranda a year ago, and maybe you're in a better spot. 16, the Kansas Jayhawks. Fire your football program into the sun. I don't even know. You were my preseason pick to win the Big 12. How does that make you feel? Look what you've done to me. Last week, my best bets go 5-0. The Big 12, the Beast 12 parlay. Cha-ching cash. And no thanks to you. Like, you are making me look like the worst analyst in college football. Maybe I am. And you're just a great example of that. The Kansas Jayhawks at 16. 1 Iowa State, 2 BYU, 3 Kansas State, 4 Texas Tech, 5 Arizona State, 6 Cincinnati, 7 Colorado, 8 West Virginia, 9 Arizona, 10 Utah, 11 Houston, 12 Oklahoma State, 13 UCF, 14 TCU, 15 Baylor, and 16 Kansas. Those are the Locked On Big 12 power rankings this week. Who would have thought that Utah would be at 10? Kansas at 16, Oklahoma State at 12, Cincinnati at 6, BYU at 2, but it's all so deserved. Coming up, the AP poll is garbage on Locked On Big 12, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Say, you there, did you know that Locked On Big 12, your first listen every single day, is sponsored by LinkedIn Talent Solutions? LinkedIn's the place to go. I tell you this all the time. When you see a good tweet from Locked On Big 12, it probably didn't come from me. It probably came from the intern, Zach, who's spectacular. And you know where I found him? LinkedIn Talent Solutions. It's not just a job board. Over 70% of LinkedIn users don't use other leading job sites. So if you're not looking at LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job and do it for free. Keep in mind, terms and conditions do apply, but it's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Visit LinkedIn today to find you an intern to run your Twitter account and make life a whole lot easier. It's LinkedIn. The AP poll is solely a machine to bring you propaganda from so-called journalists that don't watch college football. BYU and Iowa State being where they are right now, Iowa State at 9, BYU at 13. They both should be top 10 teams, not just Iowa State. We should be giving more attention, more love to Texas Tech and what they're doing currently. We should be giving more attention and more love to Arizona State and what they're doing right now. But I want to make the case that the AP poll, like how jacked up is this? I'll get into the analytics in a second. I want to give you the vibes first. I tell you, don't bring vibes to an analytics fight. But I want to give you the vibes first, and that is as follows. BYU is ranked behind a team that lost to Northern Illinois, a team that lost to Vanderbilt, a team that lost to, as we now know, porous USC, a team that lost to USC at a neutral site. BYU's behind a team that lost to Arkansas, a squad that lost 34-3. Clemson got absolutely pounded by Georgia. Why is BYU behind basically any team with a loss? Yeah, sure, Ohio State. And Iowa State's undefeated, so keeping them above BYU, yeah, I'm with that. Okay with that. They got the first marquee win, so obviously as you establish yourself in the poll, you're going to move up. And the schools, Iowa State was there before BYU, so they're ahead of them. That's all good and well. Why is LSU above Iowa State? Why is Alabama above Iowa State? Why is Clemson above BYU? Why is Tennessee, Notre Dame? Why are they above BYU? Can someone please help me? Please. I just told you how those schools have lost games that were embarrassing. It wasn't gritty, man. Notre Dame had that real gritty loss to Oregon. So, yeah, let's keep them above BYU. I get that. Nope. They lost at home to Northern Illinois. Oh, man, Tennessee went on the road against Georgia. Yeah, what can you do? Obviously, they're still going to be above BYU. Nope, they played an Arkansas team who is like, it is Weekend at Bernie's personified. They pick up Sam Pittman, who has been dead for weeks. Like, go coach a football game before we fire you, please. And that team gets to be above BYU. LSU loses to USC, who is just like incompetent at winning football games. Thanks, Lincoln Riley. Alabama loses to Vanderbilt, but hey. They're in the SEC. And I, the AP voter, get paid by completely overblowing the SEC. Or the Big Ten. Yes, we must put Big Ten teams ahead of the Big 12 because that means I make more money and look way cooler, and people think that I know college football. No, that's not. And you can make the case, AP poll doesn't matter. You're probably right. But those numbers, for the people that are, throw out the AP poll, or, it doesn't matter, for BYU, you don't think about it. For Iowa State, don't think. Those numbers equate to viewership. If you're 5-0 and unranked, playing a 4-1 team, and they're unranked, less people, the network is not going to pick up that game. But if you're 5-0 and number 11 in the country, playing a team that's 4-1 and number 15 in the country, at that point, the country says, top 15 game. That's why those numbers, exposure, direct correlation to those numbers and exposure. And we have people creating these polls every week who, in my mind, go to sleep before the last Big 12 game is over. They go to sleep at 8 p.m. Like, whatever happens the rest of the day in college football, hope it's fun. I'm still going to put Texas at number 1. I'm not just a vibes guy. I'm telling you, I do my research. The number 3 strength of record in the country belongs to the BYU Cougars. The number 3 strength of record in America. They are only behind Oregon and Penn State. BYU. At 5, the Iowa State Cyclones. They're behind Miami. Miami splits those two up. BYU and Iowa State, strength of record per ESPN, is better than Texas, Georgia, who's lost a game, Alabama, who lost to Vanderbilt, A&M, LSU, Ohio State. Their strength of record is better than all of those teams. Far better than Tennessee and Notre Dame that are 10 spots behind those schools. But the AP voters who get to fill out the little cool little hoop, I get to type in team names this week. Let's see if we can randomize it, as long as the SEC and the Big Ten are at the very top. Those people have the say in how America watches its college football every week. Now, from the standpoint of the FPI, like there are metrics here, power indexes. Is that the thing? Indexes that can give you here's why Texas should be here. And yeah, Texas is undefeated. So let's do that. I'm fine with that. And efficiency rankings that say that, this team and that team, why not have efficiency wise, like Alabama's better than BYU. So I'm going to build my AP poll, and Notre Dame's better than Iowa State to build my AP poll based on efficiencies. Okay. If you want to do that, you're using the metrics. I like metrics here. You're using the metrics here. Army, huh? They have a better efficiency overall than Ole Miss, than Georgia, than Notre Dame, than Alabama, BYU, Iowa State. They have a better efficiency than Oregon and Miami and Penn State. So if that's your argument, is I found this cool metric here. It's not that niche. It's overall efficiency. I'm going to build my poll off of that. Then BYU's ahead of Oregon, if that's your case. Well, okay, but then I'm going to do it on strength of record. Okay, great. Then BYU and Iowa State are ahead of Texas and Georgia. Well, what I'm asking them is if the analytics aren't matching up to how you build your AP poll, if the analytics aren't matching up to how you want to rank college football teams, then watch the football games. Then at this point, I get it, buddy. I watch every freaking snap of this conference. Almost every snap. And I have seen BYU enough to know at this point, hey, the offense still has something to prove as they develop new talented wide receivers, new go-to running backs. Jake Retzlaff continues to grow. I watch and see, hey, Texas Tech's defense has had young guys that we didn't know about preseason step up. Hey, Cincinnati was underrated offensively because Brennan Sorsby has been a star. Star is a strong word, but compared to what the expectation was, surely. I watch these. I see that. You, Mr. AP poll voter, you see, oh, look, cool logo. They're in the Big Ten. Haha. Number 7 it is. That's not what watching college football is. I don't mind critiquing BYU. I don't mind critiquing Iowa State, which there's very little to critique with the Cyclones. Even their special teams shows up. It's just not a proper representation of college football. It's not. Take away all the logos, BYU and Iowa State are top 8 teams by every metric. Top 8 teams. Thanks a lot for your little thing you typed into your computer, though. You're so smart. Coming up, Colorado was robbed on Locked On Big 12, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's show is brought to you by GameTime. I am violently passionate about the AP poll. I don't know what happened there. I just hit a different gear. GameTime can put you in a different gear and put your butt in a seat at whatever concert you want to go to. Coming up this week, I'm in Miami for the Banana Bowl thing to go on a cruise, Banana Land at Sea. And when I get back from the cruise, Taylor Swift is playing here. Oh, my gosh. And while I don't love Taylor Swift necessarily, there's this pretty blonde girl who I've been on a couple dates with who would like to go see Taylor Swift. So I go to GameTime, all in pricing, toggle that, see that, oh, that's the price for Taylor Swift. Here's a view from my seat. Oh, lowest price guaranteed with GameTime ticket coverage. I'll do it. Download the GameTime app, create an account, use code LockedOnCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LockedOnCollege for $20 off. Download GameTime today. What time is it? Buddy, it's GameTime. Colorado was robbed against Kansas State, and not because of a pass interference call, but instead a myriad of injuries that put the Buffs down. Colorado had to face the adversity of losing 3 top receivers, 2 of them, Jimmy Horn Jr. and Travis Hunter, being electric playmakers that were out in the entire second half of this game, and their defense, via that pick 6, almost did the whole dang thing for them. Then when Shedeur Sanders had to go try to win it at the very end of the ball game with 2:14 to go, you get the ball back. You're down by 3. Go do it, Shedeur. I don't really have all the guys that I like to throw it to usually out here. What do we do? Also, the offensive line doesn't exist. Colorado's offensive line still does not exist. And that's why I want to make the case. Colorado did, in a way, in this game, get robbed by ligaments, bones, the human body. Injuries killed the Buffs. Colorado also got robbed by its own offensive line. Was that last play a pass interference? Not egregiously. And, you can freak out, man. Oh, it was. We should have got it called. Oh, I can't believe it. It's a pass interference. Oh, man, I've watched it. I've seen the angles. There's one reporter. He's from the Denver Post. And can I make a small caveat here if you're a Colorado fan? Are there good reporters for Colorado? Are there good dudes that are covering the Buffs? Maybe the answer is yes. But I think every local article that I read about Colorado from media inside of the state, it's like Deion Sanders is a terrorist. And this column is an exact example. I just feel like every time I open up an article from the state of Colorado, like ESPN's always, man, Deion Sanders is our native son. He is the best thing to ever happen to college football. And then you read the Colorado Daily Sports Times, and it's Deion Sanders must be thrown into the sun in a pit of fury. Whoa, what's going on? Keeler, this guy's name is Keeler. He writes in the Denver Post, Colorado Buffs Shedeur Sanders got robbed by Big 12 refs. Okay. But that's not why Kansas State shocked CU in Boulder. Yeah. I mean, sure. I guess. I don't think it was a pass interference. And Keeler even makes the point that the 2-point takedown, Kansas State quarterback Keenan Garber sold it with his left arm, the right arm. I mean, you make the case that the Big 12 refs got a couple things wrong here and there. I don't. Even Deion's son Shedeur was like, whatever the ref called, he called. The dude couldn't be more respectful about it at the end. He says, this is from Shedeur. I don't know. The call wasn't pass interference, so it's okay. We just got to move forward and assess what we did wrong and go to the next week and fix those things. That was very good. Keeler goes on to say that Colorado can fix it by tackling or not giving up 185 rushing yards at home, and DJ Giddens just going absolutely off. This is, to me, a cop-out that nobody within the program at Colorado is using. That, this should have been called. No. Deion, the Shedeur, everybody has been really, really respectful about this. From USA Today, Travis Hunter leaving the game with a shoulder injury. You lose 3 other wide receivers, 4 in total, including Jimmy Horn Jr. 4-point lead in the final 3 minutes of the game, back-breaking, and then just couldn't get it done. Then Shedeur says this, and I do want to take some time to get into the post-game comments coming out of Colorado after this loss. We made a statement that we lost, Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders said afterward. Again, this per USA Today. Which, okay, Shedeur, I'll hear you out. That's the statement, that we lost. A loss is a loss. A loss is a loss. You can't get that back. Yeah, pause, if we can. I wouldn't be, he's a competitor. But gosh, dang it, man. I, as an outside observer who just covers the Big 12, was proud of what Colorado did against a top 20 Kansas State team. Proud of what the defense did. Proud of how the crowd showed up. Proud of what Colorado did to represent the Big 12, even in a loss. I don't think that the Colorado statement this week was, we lost. Okay? That's our statement. That's what we stated to the country, is that we lost. No, I thought Colorado put on a spectacular display for everyone. And USA Today goes on to say, it was too much to ask of them, apparently, and now the big question is what the fallout will be for the Buffaloes, including just how seriously Hunter was injured after being a top candidate for the Heisman Trophy. That, fallout. I was just bragging about how the national media does a pretty good job with Colorado. Will there be a fallout? Is that your takeaway from this? The injuries won't help for sure. Even Dion goes on to say, certainly losing Travis and Jimmy and others was tremendous because they're a vital part of our team, vital part of our identity. They're a vital part of who we are. So that took a blow. That took a lot out of us. But other guys had the opportunity to step up, and they did. So I'm proud of them. Even Dion's there. Like, I don't think he would agree that the loss is the statement here. I don't think that would be the case. And I don't think there's a fallout, even if those guys are injured long-term or a couple of weeks. I don't, because of the way the Colorado defense played. Because of the way Colorado, who was down 21-7 in the third quarter, fought back, took a lead. And credit to Dion for saying how proud he was of his team. Didn't throw any players under the bus, except for really one. And it was a very violent, like, pick you up, put you under the bus tire and say, there you go. And it was to his son, Shiloh Sanders, who Dion said played horrible. Direct quote, horrible. Wow, okay. Thanks, Dad. It's like when I was in third grade, we had football in Arkansas in third grade, and I would ride back home with my father. It's like I was an interior offensive lineman. Like, how did I do, Dad? Horrible. I don't know if he ever said that, but I had a couple of chew-ins. Dad was a college football player, so I would get it every now and then. You know how that made me feel? Not good. Imagine if my father was Deion Sanders and he said that to all of America, that I was rusty and horrible. Which, granted, credit to Deion, Shiloh Sanders was horrible in this game. So I will give you the nod for saying that. But he does say of his team, this team has heart. They have integrity. They're tough. They love to play this game. We just came up short. We got to just learn how to win these particular games. And I love it. Usually, to me, that's coach speak. Oh, we came up short. We got to learn. Dude, you pieced together this team in a fashion that most people in college football aren't doing as aggressively as you. So I absolutely get how Colorado is still putting together a way to win, putting together a way to close out games. That's what Deion is saying here. And I think he's spot on. It's not coach speak. Legitimately, his team is still meshing, gelling, and then my question becomes, what does Colorado look like long-term post this season? Because whether Deion, we all know Deion's going to exist a year from now. Will he be the head coach of Colorado? I am coming to the point now where I hope the answer is yes, because of watching displays like this against Kansas State, where I don't think the statement was a loss. I don't think they were robbed by the officials. I do think they were robbed by injuries that could have made this a game that Colorado was not just in, but in control of there at the fourth quarter. You lost Travis Hunter. That's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. Still find a way to fight. Coming up tomorrow, JT Westercell of Locked On Utes joins, because we've got a lot to break down there. We'll talk the entire Big 12 with him, as well as whatever the heck is going on in Salt Lake City. This has been and always will be Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Dose Grande.